IntheOT.com. Keep checking it out.
It's Chad here with Jim Hughson, IntheOT.com, just doing a little bit of an interview here. He's been nice enough to take a few minutes out of the day today, and we're here at the JCC Sports Dinner. And Jim, they obviously thought highly of you to have you come and MC the event here tonight.
Who knows? Maybe, Chad, I was the only guy available. I don't know.
Okay.
It's flattering that you would say they thought highly of me.
Well, you know what? I'm sure I'm not the only one in the country here that thinks highly of you. I mean, let me start off by saying this. When I was a youngster, I listened to hockey games when I was, 5, 6 years old. My parents used to tell me, you know what, Chad, after the first period, you're going to sleep. And I'm like, what, you're going to deprive me of watching the game? So I used to, go on to CKNW 980 and listen to it under my pillow. And obviously, when I was really young, I got to hear Jim Robson. And then after that, it transitioned into you.
Glad you mentioned that, because I'm really not that old.
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, my first question would be then is, how did it feel coming in, taking over position for one of the greatest broadcasters of all time? It must have been an honor.
Clearly one of the greatest broadcasters of all time. But as many people ask me that question, and it was an absolutely no-brainer decision to take the job, it wouldn't have been a prestigious job had Jim Robson not done it so well. So why would you, instead of having some fear of taking over from a legendary broadcaster, I was absolutely thrilled and honored to take over a position that had become one of the best positions in the National Hockey League. That's the way I looked at it, and and the pressure at that point is on to make sure you uphold the quality and keep it at the level that Jim put it to, and we tried our best over the years to do that.
Excellent, excellent. So, I mean, tonight is a great night because they give out this Jack Diamond Award, which is often given out for, and there goes the lights. We'll deal with that. So for everyone that's watching, the audio is what's important right now. So,
Chad can't quite afford the lighting set yet, but that's coming.
But it's people like Jim that help us get there, because I know you guys want to see these type of spots, therefore we're going to get more hits, and then someone's going to want to advertise with us.
We're over here.
Yep. Anyways, back to the interview. So tonight, the Jack Diamond Award is being given out to people that have been influential in British Columbia to the whole sports scene. Last year was Trevor Linden, and this year it's Tom Larshad. I mean, you want to talk about two people that have been involved with the Canucks organization that have meant, everything to, the success that they've had. So, you obviously having worked with Tommy, what can you say about his accomplishments?
Well, I would say this. We have been blessed, Chad, over the years in this community with some of the greatest characters you'll ever run into in the sports broadcasting industry. And I go back to guys like Bill Good Sr., whose nickname was Breathless, and he was the conscience of our industry. He kept the watch on everybody, and there was guys like Tiger Al Davidson, who was at CKNW for years, the Jims, Kearney and Taylor, Clancy Loringer. There's quite a long list of them that were around for a long time. There's Archie McDonald and Arv Olsen and Jim Robson and Jim Cox. These were real characters and the real influential people within our media. Yeah. And to that list now I add Tom Larshad, who is one of the legends of broadcasting in this community, for a number of reasons. There was nobody who had more passion for the BC Lions as a player and as a color commentator, and the same could be said for the Vancouver Canucks. And I know there have been people, maybe even recently, who have been critical of Tom because he was too critical, and they missed the point entirely.
I couldn't agree more.
Missed the point entirely, because there's an old adage in sports that you better love your team before you say anything bad about them. Nobody loved the Canucks, and still does, more than Tom Larshad. He would get so frustrated with them through his passion that he'd get angry at them. And through that, some people thought, well, he's being a real negative guy. But if you go by the axiom, as I do, that you better love your team if you say anything bad about them, then he loved them more than anybody else in this community. Nobody knew anything more about the Canucks. Pavel Bure, Al McGillney, the mysterious people that people really didn't get to know. Nobody knew them better than Tom. And I think really what he always wanted was the BC Lions to win the Grey Cup and the Vancouver Canucks to win the Stanley Cup. It's too bad, really, that he's not doing the games when they're closer to the Stanley Cup now than they've ever been. But his legacy will and should be one of absolute passion. Plus, on the other side of it, being one of the real characters, and we could go on forever with some of the things that he said on the air. But those are legendary items as well. A real passionate guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I couldn't agree more. Like you said, the whole criticism thing, it comes from passion and wanting to see the team do well. And the second that maybe, the Canucks have had high expectations the last few years. So as a broadcaster being there and seeing it for all that time, he was obviously into it. Jim, I really appreciate you taking a few words with me today.
You're welcome,
It means a lot
Chad.
to me.
Good luck with the website.
Thank you.
Keep coming back here.